pressure at all. Whereas on the other side of things, I don't know, man. Low-key, Karis looks like he's procking some cortisol right now. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but he just doesn't look like he's in his comfort zone at all, Grapes, as a player or as a champion, as a summoner. So I really want to see Karis in particular lock in, step it up, and see if he can finally have a good showing here in this series versus Nya, this rookie mid, and get WE their first series win.
And when W was in group perseverance in split 1, I'd argue that Karis was their best player. I think I voted for him first team in group perseverance when we did our all-pro from each respective group. And unfortunately, it's not really carried over into the group ascend against some higher level competition. Definitely has looked like the weakest mid laner out of our pool of 8 or 9, depending on how many subs you end up deciding to count. Have to step it up here against, again, a rookie mid laner in Nya. If there's any opportunity to do it, it will be here. But the first pick will actually go to the IG mid laner, as they're going to lock in an Annie on that B1. I guess R1 now.
Yeah, but Annie has been rising in the meta quite interestingly. Just he offers a lot of that pick potential, that engage snap potential, which you really want to be having at least in some way on your comp, whether it's in mid, jungle, support, whatever. And he's a really strong champion for that. But I think that this can definitely get us to where we want Karis to be, because there's a lot of champions you can pick into the Annie that can do very well. Karis being known, in my eyes, one of the best Akalis in the entire region, if not the world. So
high praise for a region that's got Knight in it, but we'll take it. Karis is 2-2 on the Akali this season, looking to make it a over 500 record. We paired alongside the Pantheon, which has been banned in both games so far, against Monki.
Yeah, I mean, just from seeing the guy play Akali, I mean, he's had some really awkward moments at times, but in general, this is his comfort champion, is Karis and his Akali. I'm not the most familiar on the particular matchup of the Akali versus the Annie, but I understand that you should be able to get what you want, which is a farming early game, get you to that level 6, maybe that mid game level 11, whatever it is, and then really, really make use of this champion, where if it doesn't get put behind too early, sometimes in those mid games, in those side lanes, you just completely give people no counterplay. If they're even trying to play without a tower near them or an ally near them, they just fully get ran down and assassinated. This is the exact champion to bring home that narrative I'm hoping for in Karis, bringing WE to their first series win.
Responded on the other side by IG by a Xin Zhao, and the Renekton could answer with a more aggressive top laner into the Crocodile, but looks like Cube's going to play it safe, lock in that Cassante, especially with that Varus already banned away. So we're headed into the second phase of the draft. Once again, both bot lanes waiting to be selected. We saw this has been the most volatile lane, most all things considered, that can go back and forth in either direction.
Yeah, again, the exact same thing. It's a really interesting dynamic going on here in this series. First with this blue side right of choice thing. Now again with this bot laners being fully dropped until 4-5. Okay, now we're really going to be stretching those bot lane pools thin here. We're going to see exactly what kind of champions they want to ban away from the opposing sides to make sure that those bot lane fearless champions is really coming into play here. And I can't even wonder what's even left open. I mean, I really like the side of WE. They not only got the Akali for that, that playmaking pick potential, we've even got the Pantheon. This, alongside the Nocturne, are just such effective global ulting champions. So if anything, you want to ban away things that might be able to survive that assassination potential of this WE mid jungle.
If you are about in our hub, something that has a little bit more late game damage is what I'd be looking at right now. When you have the Akali in the mid lane, you can assassinate some targets, but in terms of consistent DPS, not necessarily as much there, especially with the Cassante up towards the top side of the map. So for about things like the Sivir start to come up into conversation, maybe even a Jinx, Ashe now banned away, meaning that it should be a decent laning phase if things go WE's way in terms of what matchup they actually do want to select.
That's actually a really good shout here. You've got a lot of burst damage from WE, but you have not got practically any sustained damage, unless we're counting an all-outed Cassante, which is pretty grasping at straws, if you ask me. So we're going to see what kind of perhaps hyper carry angle they might want to go for here. They definitely want something that's going to cut through. Xin Zhao and Renekton can be really bruiser, juggernaut champions that are just really hard to kill. They're not outright tanks, but they may as well be. So perhaps a champion like this could offer you some survivability and some high damage output, both Sivir and Xayah having that theme.
Yep, Spell Shield on the Sivir, certainly going to have high value against things like Annie and Renekton. We'll see what exactly it gets paired up with in the support position. Not a ton of enchanters left up, but Arha definitely more comfortable on Engage. Things like the Alistar start to come up in conversation now that we've gotten this far into the Fearless draft.
Yeah, and Alistar versus Sivir can be extremely awkward for Sivir. So it feels like pretty likely a gambit here that they're saying, is Mako going to pick the Alistar or not? Because, again, Alistar is like the most prominent counter to Sivir that we've always been seeing in these kind of drafts. So they're picking the Sivir face up, full well knowing that this is a possibility. It makes you wonder what they have in mind for that last pick blue side for Arha.
Man, you'd love to have an enchanter here to just have that range advantage against the Kai'Sa and the Nautilus, but take a look at the champion pools. No Nami, no Lulu, no Bard, no Nico, no Karma and Seraphine, no Milio even. So there's a lot left to be desired in that enchanter department. And so if you're Arha, most likely something like the Rakan or the Leona, just to try to answer the might of this Alistar. You could also go something like the Braum, as I was going to immediately bring up, to try to counter the heavy melee engage support down there. And that could be the direction that Arha wants to go. WE certainly have a nice front to back. On the other side of things, IG, they can burst people, but they're pretty short ranged.
I really like the Braum last pick because I think, of course, last pick is really important in any given draft. It's supposed to basically understand all the other 9 champions' intentions, your allies and the enemies, and see what can you pick to make sure that your team's draft has the upper hand. And Braum here, I think, is really nice to have, and being able to offer a lot of crowd control disruption on. There's what's certain to be some divers in the Renekton and the Xin Zhao, as well as the Kai'Sa even, and make sure that this Alistar, because again, if you're against champions who like to go forward, Braum is one of the best peel champions in the entire game to really help about deal that consistent damage that Karis, Monki, and Cube are going to be lacking in their burst damage.
A fascinating conversation to have about this draft as we gotten deep into the Fearless. The bot lane pools certainly got pinched. And we have Kai'Sa Alistar against Sivir Braum that could make or break this matchup for either team. Team WE in their home arena looking for their first series win of split number 2 in Group Ascend, whereas IG looking to get back into the win column themselves against a team that they would have hoped is a bit of a scheduled win with much tougher opponents left ahead. We're getting ready for game number 1. It looks like we have a slight delay before we head into Summoner's Rift. But you got to imagine the pressure high for a team like WE in front of their home fans, hoping that they can make some magic happen. We're on to the Rift for our final game of our first series today.
全军出击！
Immediately there, Foles, you see a great level 1 set up by WE. They burn Nia's flash immediately.
Yeah, I love the creativity coming from WE. That seems to be a really big theme in today's LPL is, can you land yourselves a cheeky, cheesy level 1 start? Because those go very far, as we saw last game in this series. And again, we're getting to see WE. Today is the day. The crowd wants it. Can they do it? Can you feel it? Because I think, based on that level 1 as well, this could just be it here.
He's penetrating down here on the bottom side as well. You take a look at WE's Thunder Spells traded. Concussive blows, heal for barrier. Take a look at WE's remaining schedule for the rest of this week as well. They play IG today. They got a matchup against Weibo tomorrow. And after that, it's top esports. It's again, not necessarily the easiest, the smoothest of sailings for WE's upcoming schedule. So this is certainly an opportunity for them to strike. They're able to take a team like JDG to Game 3. Why can't the same happen here against Invictus?
Exactly. Then they did get cooked in that previous best of 3 where they found themselves a win, but we could have ourselves an opportunity for them to do what they did in game 1, which was, even if the game state is not the most in their favor, as long as they have a fighting chance, I truly believe with these players, with this draft, that there should be a way in to do so. But as you highlight, their schedule, this is the kind of game that they need to be taking away and to be getting into that win column, because they've got this, they've got Weibo, and it's hard to imagine them beating top esports in the future of their calendar, right? So this is the one and only primary best chance to get that win on the board. And I think Karis here on this Akali, his comfort pick of all comfort picks, you couldn't ask for a higher, easier, better chance to do so.
It's certainly something that they were playing when W was having that success about a year ago. We'll see if it ends up coming true here. Of course, you got the Doron shield for Karis, a little bit of extra sustain under his turret. Yaoyao without the flash, but still able to have a significant range advantage until Monki does arrive to play. Both junglers go for full clears into just trades of their respective side scuttles. Monki towards the top, Jwei towards the bot. They'll probably likely head towards some resets on their own. So much quieter early game, and I think that's better for WE. You want to hope for some more success in the long run in this game 3.
I mean, this should just be a kill.
Okay, Monki immediately follows here onto the mid lane. Nya has no mana, has no flash, shouldn't have no life, and Monki will strike once again in the mid lane. It's first blood for WE.
Yeah, and this has given me deja vu back to game 1, where Nya is just fully vulnerable, and he must well know it, that his champion, you know, can be ganked at any given point, whether it was the Lee Sin in game 1 or the Pantheon in game 3 here. If you don't have flash and you don't have a dash, you've just got pure immobility. There's no way out. He's got no vision there. He's got no possible ally to come save him, and it almost feels like he knew that his position was dangerous, and he committed it anyways.
Mako and about, trading once again. Nicely done by the Alistar. Mako baits out the spell shield, then lands the stun, but he could be punished for it. Tunked down to less than 100 HP, but with the lethal tempo proc onto Jachi, and having no knowledge of where Jwei is, they do not want to go for more than just that.
Yeah, it can be very difficult to commit forward there. Jachi still having the barrier advantage, which could come in handy if that fight elongates entirely with them committing on to Mako. Jachi could perhaps double kill them or something like that. So very scary. Both the heals coming up here for both the supports, equipped with the spell books to make sure that at minute 6 they're going to be able to get up to no good, whether it's those teleports or what have you. But very interesting. It's going to be also Cube here, sorry, Monki rather, farming his way towards level 6, get that global pressure. Karis trying to make use of that level 6 advantage, but Nya's flash coming up any wave now, and that should just mean that he's nowhere near as vulnerable going forwards. Seems like Jwei might have his eyes on a dragon, but both teams in a pretty even game state.
Monki went for a reset, so there was maybe an opportunity for that drag to be started up by Jwei, but with Nya still having no flash and Karis having that ultimate advantage, likely not the easiest thing to go for, and so it will be Invictus backing up. Jwei deciding instead to just farm the bot side of his jungle and maybe look for a play after that. Interesting to note, we also have the longsword already in inventory for Jwei, as well as the ruby crystal. So unfortunately, Foles, it looks like we're getting good old-fashioned 80s Xin Zhao this game.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what you should be seeing here from the Xin Zhao. You know, I don't think that this AP build would be ideal for the jungle. You've seen some solo lane shenanigans, but it seems like more of a content angle than a practical one. Again, it can be powerful. Maybe he gets the Dusk and done second, but
perfect execution. Nya already burns his flash. That is way too early to be burning that summoner spell, as Karis still at the second proc on the perfect execution and executes Nya at that. Another kill towards the Akali. And now Monki has his Conqueror proc. He's level 6, so could look to continue the fight onto Jwei. And that's 2 summoner spells and another kill given over to the WE mid jungle.
Bang! I mean, this is the exact early game we need, Grips. We got Karis on his pocket pick. We got 2 kills here onto Nya, giving us full deja vu of that Castle performance in game 1, which somehow he was able to come back from. So all we need to do is prevent that level 6 dink here, though. I'm scared.
Lookup lands onto Arha down here, but once again, it is the Team WE mid jungle finally answering the call. Monki had a great Lee Sin game in game number 1, but Karis still fell pretty far behind on Rise. This time, much more favored on both sides of things. Karis has that early gold lead, and Monki also ahead of XP, looking to continue to push the tempo here in this game.
Yeah, and as we were speculating, it seemed that you could potentially scapegoat that Game 2 defeat just into the sheer lack of preparation and positioning from the early game. You can definitely just let it be and focus on the fact that you are going into a Game 3, which is this is the second time you've done that so far in this split. I mean, you lose the Wolf there as Monki, but I think you're much more happier with where your game is than where Jwei's is. And got the Grand Starfall. It feels like you want to make use of that any given opportunity that you can. Perhaps onto this bot lane, but Kai'Sa with Summoner spells, with Killer Instinct, definitely one of the harder targets to make use of that on. I feel like you may as well just go even further into the punishing Nya timeline, and the no flash Annie is a much more vulnerable target.
Yeah, and remember, this Annie was first pick. You have to wonder, now that we're in game 3 of Fearless, and there's again a rookie mid laner here for IG, was Nya's champion pool any problem whatsoever? Did they feel like he was very pinched at this point, had to go for something like the Annie early? And if that's the case, that's something that IG are going to have to think about for the remainder of this season. Again, odds of them jumping up into the top 4, not super likely, but even if they weren't able to get there, you're going to get to the playoffs, you're going to get into these best of 5s. That's going to be even more important, is figuring out where the champ pool priority ends up lying for your rookie mid laner.
And of course, I'm no drafting coach or complete expert or anything, but Annie is a pretty strong champion. We've seen her first picked a bit in the LCK, but it just makes you wonder on the meta read there if Annie is necessarily the best route to go for, especially what's been going on here with this right of choice where I can only wonder if this is their best line of attack. Of course, this could very well be results based, given that he of course died 2 times thanks to Monki, and that level 1, mind you, burning his flash. So we'll see if that champion pool question, that drafting question comes into play.
Ooh. Nice smite Q for Monki to secure that 3rd grub, and now a 3v3 has opened up on the top side. We have the Braum coming, but it's going to be a little bit too late. And yeah, immediately gets dove upon, but he will be traded back for Monki. Dominance has been popped alongside the Crescent Guard as both supporters arrive to the party. Jwei gets assassinated by Karis, and now it'll be Breathe next on the menu. He flash slices away, and now will be Mako trying to be focused down. He flashes away from the Winter's Bite, but it'll be WE once again with a 2-for-1.
Today might just be the day. I do not want to get anyone's hopes too far up, but this is the closest W has ever been to winning a series in Split 2 Graves. Come on, they've got to get there.
You're starting to feel it. WE's playing with confidence. They got Monki feeling himself here with that smite Q, and he immediately goes back in.
Exactly, Karis landing this backflip onto Nya there, just fully able to one-shot. Unfortunately, Monki, the same story, also getting that one-shot experience. This can very well be the case with this level 9 Renekton. Arha showing up just a little bit before Mako is really coming in, but that summoner heal from Mako completely saving Breeze's life, enabling him to flash out and survive, which could definitely have ramifications towards the mid game, because this 500 gold lane has only been increasing, is what it feels like in this top lane for Breeze. He's going to get his Black Cleaver any timer now, and that's just going to mean it's going to be really hard for Cube to keep up in this matchup, at least for the time being. On the bright side, Cassante having a lot of scaling, but could only imagine how nice of a game state would be for WE had they been able to slay Breathe as well. But hey, you know what? We'll take what we can get.
Mako and Jachi now getting targeted down here in the bottom side. Winter's Bite, concussive blows, as well as that ultimate being popped by Arha. WE is just shredding this Kai'Sa Alistar at this point. Already the Unbreakable Oil had to be popped by Mako, and he is forced to back away. WE's composition certainly looking like it's paying dividends at this point, but now Arha could have been a little bit overextended. Tibbers comes down, Nya is exhausted, but that means the rest of his team can follow up. Nice stand beside me from Arha to get away from that headbutt pull.
Karis wants to make something of this.
Oh, Nya jumps right back into ultimate range, allows for Karis to go in with the first proc in public execution. Grand Starfall comes out as well, and Nya just has to burn his flash. So he will be able to get on out of here as WE still control the bottom side of the map.
I love what we're seeing from this bot lane of WE. It seemed like Jwei and Mako were just building a lead over them and that there wasn't going to be much of a fight to be had. But I think ever since maybe that top lane skirmish, Arha is just able to have a lot of influence in this game. This Braum last pick putting in absolute work, forcing Jwei and Mako all the way past their tower, making them miss a lot of farm and gold, meaning Abel has just now completed his quest. That's going to allow him to get a lot of gold spent onto the map here. He's going to finish his cull as well, way before Jwei. This Sivir's going to have a well over 1k gold lead because of that.
And about always the question is, can he find leads for himself to eventually turn into the team fighting monster that we know that he can be? So far, it looks like that answer is yes with this Braum pick by his side. And they've already rotated this WE bot lane to the mid lane to allow for About and Arha to get even more turret plates against Nya, who immediately is targeted once again, allows for Monki to go in with some early invades onto the Raptor camp. And WE are 2.2 thousand gold ahead. This is a great start here for this team who's looking for their first series win of the season.
Yeah, both bot lanes transitioning up into the mid lane here, About wanting to spend the gold he just got from his cult proc. They had the mid lane prio, shoving that wave in high. Gonna let them have a complete free base timer here, even picking up a control ward. Definitely means that they're gonna be in a pretty good spot for these objectives spawning. First coming the Drake, then the Herald. And Karis is gonna be fully unlocked here. This is exactly what you want as these assassin champions with high mobility, is to be in these side lanes 1 versus 1 in the mid game. It's so much easier to find solo kills and to find good trades in these long lanes. So Nya is going to have a really hard time, going to be requiring assistance, and you know that WE and their units in the Braum and in the Panther are going to want to make sure that Nya's left to his lonesome, controlling this blue side jungle.
Another invade, once again goes Monkey's way. He's been able to just really punch back and gets some revenge from that last matchup against Jwei's Nocturne. Monkey getting his get back, right? It's like in the high school movie when, you know, the kid gets the guy that's getting bullied gets his glow up. That's what Monkey's feeling like right now.
Absolutely is it after that game too. And contesting this is very bold as IG. We're going to see a 5v5, aren't we?
Yeah, Breathe has to walk down here. He's now going to burn the Unleashed teleport as Cube does the same. Dragon's at 2,000 HP. Will be second Drake here for IG. And Jwei, he's able to pick it up with a W Smite to steal it away from Team WE. Now the team fight begins in earnest. Cube lands a Pathmaker and Jwei's forced to flash away with the Crescent Guard still in tow. But in goes Karis. Lands the public execution and is able to take another one back down with him. All out on a Breathe. And Cube's able to get another kill and escape with his life. But Jwei goes forward with the Killer Instinct. Gets one. Forced to flash away from Arha. It's a triple kill in for About in the meantime. But now this Kai'Sa's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that hard place is Monkey's Spear. It's an ace for Team WE.
What the heck just happened? About just killed everyone off screen, apparently. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful team fight from WE. Karis getting that beautiful execution onto the backline there and surviving. Arha kiting them like an absolute pro. Everything coming in clutch here for W, except for the one unfortunate error in that Monkey smites too early. Jwei doesn't even smite this Drake. He just gets it off of Monkey's early smite. So sad that Jwei's W does get it, but who cares? Who I want to talk about sadness when you can talk about all the joy and greatness that just took place here in this team fight. Look how much space and time Cube is buying there. They're all lining up beautifully for bang this execution from Karis. And wow, WE, man, this is as close as I've ever seen it in Split 2 here. This just might be the momentum and team fighting we need. Off screen there, we see About just completely pick up that triple.
And I see, you know, as Jwei, I see the angle, man. I know that there was a triple kill in his eyes, but both Karis and Arha able to barely escape without going down. WE 16,000 total kills in their history in the LPL, and 9 crucial ones here in this game 3 to try to get some momentum here in the back end of this regular season.
I really want to call on that fateful story of the 06 WE start that somehow led them to a top 4 finish. This is kind of giving me that energy right now. Let's see if they can keep this up, man.
Long way to go for that. But again, reminder the way that this group structure works in the LPL. All Group Ascend members are guaranteed one best of 5 against a Group Nirvana opponent to entry into the playoffs. Doesn't matter if you go 0-14, 14-0, you're guaranteed at least that playoff berth. Of course, top 4 automatically gets it without having to play that best of 5. But for WE, they just have to ready themselves for that one matchup that they will eventually play. Who will it be against? Will it be LNG, EDG? Hey, Thundertalk have been looking decently recently. Still a lot of time to tell. But so far, things are looking good for them against another team of potentially equal skill in Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, exactly. IG's recent showings have not been pretty whatsoever. I mean, of course, game 2 was great, but again, we will say it over. That game was just never a real game, and
oh yeah, goes for a flash here onto a bout. Doesn't even have the stun, but has a good chunk of damage to send him to 40%. A questionable decision there from the mid laner of Invictus Gaming, as it doesn't look like he was able to get his passive off.
Yeah, Nya there with the first pick, and you would only imagine that of course he's able to get those kind of combos off, but off by 1 stack on the Annie passive, that's not going to be a stun. About's just going to be able to walk that one off, not even burning anything other than his ultimate in trade for Nya's flash. A full 5-minute flash, mind you. No Cosmic Insight, no Lucid Boots or anything. Huge mistake from Nya, and this game is really slipping out of IG's hands.
5,000 gold lead at 18 minutes. Not as much as game number 2 that IG had in terms of a lead, but the mid jungle once again being a big problem for Jwei and Nya. You also have about having 2 full items on the Sivir, as this composition will just continue to scale. Invictus Gaming, they're focused on bursting, right? Finding picks, going one after the other. That's not necessarily how WE are going to have to operate in order to win this game.
Yeah, Rift Herald not getting its full value here. That turret definitely could have been saved for another time on the Herald charge. It's going to be smote down.
Oh, and now Jwei gets knocked up. They're immediately following up on him, and no Crescent Guard is even able to be issued by Jwei before he is burnt down to a crisp. Another easy kill, as the Rift Herald shenanigans prove beneficial for Team WE as they'll look to push in onto this bot tier 2.
Yeah, Wei's health bar just fully disappearing there. I'm pretty sure I literally blinked and missed it, by the way. I have no idea how he just died so quickly as the Zinzo. That's just a testament to this gold lead that has just been ballooning for WE. With the Drake spawning as well, they've definitely got to need to secure this to make sure that IG's practical last win condition is just off of the board. All because of the fact that Monki unfortunately did not get the prior smite. But so long as they get this one, I feel like IG's hopes in this particular game are practically out.
You start to wonder what could potentially be the angles back into this game. Jwei, you got so close to having a pop-off moment around that last dragon fight, but just came up short. But take a look at who could potentially take that step. He has his second item, Rage Blade. He'll continue to scale up. This Kaisa, you talk about Karis as Akali as being a signature pick. This was Jwei's signature pick when he was back on Fun Plus Phoenix, back on RNG. Able to have some really great moments on this champ last year that got him these opportunities at the higher level. First top esports last split, then over to IG when Jackie Love returned to the squad. He's going to have to be the difference maker on this Kaisa pick.
And in fairness, he is pretty strong on the Kaisa. The Sivir hasn't fully finished a third item yet. This gold lead hasn't really mattered that much as of now. He's definitely able to get a lot of damage done, and Breathe has been putting in a lot of work in this 1v1 matchup, getting us a lead and a look on to
He's very far forward. He pops the Shroud, able to use that Shuriken to escape. That was a very scary situation, but Karis, he knows the full limits of his champion better than I do, for sure.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, Karis on the Akali is no one to scoff at. Even having the blue buff on this Akali, it's just so powerful. You're able to issue so many of those Akali Qs and just these mobility spells that you have with this Proto Belt and everything. You can't possibly catch this guy out as easily as that and make use of this power that Jwei does technically have. I mean, Jwei is definitely able to do a lot of damage in these fights so long as he is protected and not assassinated by the likes of Monki and Karis. It's definitely gonna, like I was gonna say, it's definitely gonna be up to Breathe frontline to be able to build that space for Jwei, and up to the peel of Mako to make sure that he is able to get it done.
Gold lead continuing to swing in WE's favor. Now up to 6,000 with the Baron now up and available. This is a fast-taking Baron team for WE. You have the Sivir, which is always able to just issue out a ton of auto attacks, especially with that Infinity Edge. So always something for Invictus to have to worry about. Although they do have good collapse into the pit if they do want to force a 5v5 team fight. WE right now spread out across the map. and waiting to see IG make an aggressive play to try to pick off one of these members. It just hasn't happened yet.
So one problem that I'm definitely seeing here for IG is just that this Cassante is just completely untargetable as a someone to go for. Like, let's say they wanted to even try bringing numbers onto killing this Cassante. This Annie does no damage to him, and pretty much is going to be that way for the rest of the game. Just the way Annie's kit works versus Cassante, you have someone who's fully oriented around burst versus someone who's just the most tanky, absurd showmaker copy-paste. Like, there's just no way this Annie is ever going to get through that. The only way this Cassante can ever die is if Jwei is hitting him. So we're going to need to make sure that Jwei is finding some kind of angles. Other than that, this game is so hard to get through. There's one silver lining in that previous 2 Drakes ago, they did get the last hit from Jwei's Wind Becomes Lightning. Technically, they're not on as much of a clock here for this game to be checkmate.
Yeah, if it was an extra dragon there, it certainly would not help the pace of this one for IG, who now actually have the advantage in the Drake department because the first one they were able to claim. Now Jwei gonna get targeted around his own Raptors, but here's a big re-engage here for Mako. Lands that 3-man pull, but the response from IG going to be big as Jwei already goes down. Karis with perfect execution, doesn't land the final shot. Jwei gets the shutdown, and IG might be back into this game. About not able to land the final blow. Sure, it's a 2-for-1, but you're gonna get that big shutdown onto the Akali, and you're gonna be happy enough about it unless this Baron ends up going down.
If you get this Baron, it's completely fine for WE. You just got so much gold onto Jwei, though. It's very, very worrisome.
It's a big vote for Mako. If you want to get him into an all-pro ballot, make sure to scan that QR code and get yourself into the LPL Discord. But it looks like his team is down and out at this point. No contest for Baron, and it'll be WE wearing purple for the next 3.
I mean, yeah, Mako does look really nice here on this Pulverize, but unfortunately his team is just so far behind. There's no way you can get through all these health bars with the current items that you're having. Monki forced a flash out, but it doesn't matter all too much. I would say WE wins the game here and now if Karis just doesn't press the R2 button on his keyboard. Unfortunately, he saw blood in the water. He had a killer instinct in his eyes, not to be a pun intended with Jwei's ultimate, but Jwei getting the upper hand on Karis there. Now completing, speaking of that ultimate, a Fiend Hunter Bolt on the Kaisa. I haven't seen too much of that, but I'm sure it can definitely dish out a huge burst if he wants to make use of it.
So it's become clear, the identity and the win condition for IG, find some sort of crowd control onto a player like About and have Jwei jump in with a killer instinct and one-shot him. Will that be possible? Right now, I don't think so, but there's still a lot of time left in this game. WE only able to claim this second dragon now for themselves, and that means that it's going to be a while until this soul eventually is claimed. A lot of time for IG to sink themselves into their own base, turtle it up, and try to get the scaling up to as much as they possibly can.
That's right. I really think it can be quite hard to break and siege these towers here that IG is going to be defending. I mean, to get all the way to the Nexus is a hard challenge, and that's usually why you rely on the Dragon Soul, and that win con is a solid 9.5 minutes away. So it makes you wonder if some of the scaling that this Kaisa has can maybe get them there. I'm just concerned about the fact that the top side of their team comp doesn't scale all too well.
Mako's looking for a crazy flank, but he was spot on a ward, so About and Arha know exactly what is going on, and that's going to mean that Alistar could be in a bit of trouble. He pops the Spellbook Ghost in order to escape, and now IG are going to look for a play onto the Cassante. Cube going to get knocked up by Jwei, followed up by the killer instinct of Jwei, but this Cassante is just way too tanky at this point. He goes all out into a 1v3, but will get bursted down as Jwei gets another crucial kill.
And it looks like IG is just low-key rage baiting WE around the map. First with Mako, now with Breathe here, possibly completely diverting them away from Cube, and not only killing Cube, but getting his flash as well, with the gold going on to Jwei. I've been really high on the hopes of WE getting this series win, but it's mistakes like that that can definitely come to a cost. So let's make sure that we hone in our plays here, and the Baron and Dragon going to be spawning at the same time, so it could be quite awkward 3 minutes from now. This Baron buff falling off as well. I think WE doesn't really have any proactive plays to make for this next while.
Yeah, the Baron buff already gone. not even able to get a net positive after just the neutral gold that you get from slaying that objective. So WE would have been much happier with getting at least another inner turret or two. But for now, they are going to be pretty far away from the eventual goal of Invictus's Nexus. They still have not yet taken down a tier 2 turret. Meanwhile, IG is able to get their first tier 1 of the game with Breathe on the bottom side.
Yeah, about opting for the GA as well. That's a really interesting angle here. He's opting for the defense instead of the offense when we've already got Randuin's picked up here for Breathe with those Silk Caps. Cloth Armor's coming in for Jwei. Alistar having all sorts of armor. This Sivir's not going to do nearly as much damage as his gold lead would want him to with this decision. Of course, he'll be a bit safer now from some of that burst, but once Jwei picks up this LDR, it's going to do so much damage to these health stacking champions. And I think at that point, he might just turn the corner of this lead and be stronger than About.
Oh, not just yet, though, as About still has that level advantage and gold advantage, but a big Tibbers comes forward here from Ya, but in comes a Pathfinder that finds 2 members of the IG frontline. Breathe is down, Mako next up, and WE able to strike here in the mid lane. They take down the tier 2 tower, they take down the cow, and they're pushing down mid.
Now this is when you can really siege. Once there's only 3 champs left for IG, the only frontliner being away, not necessarily a Breathe or a Mako to buy all that much space. It looks like here and now they want to go for their first series win.
They're sending 2 teleports in, 1 from Arha and 1 from Cube. It's going to be 5 members strong against just 3 of Invictus Gaming. Jwei, is he strong enough? Just picks up the Lord Doms. In goes Jwei. Pops the Crescent Guard. Monki able to dodge away from a lot of damage with the Aegis, but Jwei already bursted down. Jwei with the Killer Instinct forward. Gonna flash out of Karis, but he goes golden in just the right amount of time. Second Nexus Tower already down. It's just Nia, and Jwei still left up. Nexus is now exposed. WE have waited long enough. Will their opportunity finally come? The Nexus will go down. Ball game over. Series over. WE win. Team WE wins.
I'm just speechless. They did it. I wanted them to, but I didn't think they could. They have actually gone and done it. Look at the smiles on their faces, man. They're so back. Oh my god.
Just one fight in the mid lane is all that they needed. And a huge series from Cube up in the top lane. That Pathfinder separated the front from the back.
Yeah.
They take out the 2 tanks on Invictus Gaming side, and there was nothing that those backline carries could do against a full 5 members in Sion. The home crowd, I'm sure, is loving it. And for Team WE, they finally get on the board. No longer are they the winless team. And hey, Fulls, they got Weibo tomorrow, the team that lost to Invictus Gaming just a couple of days ago.
I mean, what better time for a comeback story than now, man? I mean, I was calling on that 0-6 last year energy. You know, 9 is the 6 upside down. I mean, it's been a pretty upside down split here for WE, but they've gone and done it, and this is. You see it right there. There's a 1 in the win column. Graves, they've gone and done it, man. It's just so beautiful. I'm just so glad. I mean, that's the thing is every it's so over moment eventually comes with a we are so back. But every we are so back moment doesn't necessarily have to come with an it's so over. So we are so back. I mean, they're literally called we. So what more can I say?
If we have the standings, just want to see the 1 up on the screen, whenever it ends up being ready. Here we go. In its own glory, WE finally have a win. and look, it's 3-19. They're not going to catch Weibo. They're not going to catch IG. But just getting some momentum, going into that eventual best of 5, whether it's LGD, LNG, EDG, whoever, is going to be very important for this team. There you see it. We are excited about this one because it means that everyone in Group Ascend is now having a win in their books. And man, for Team WE, you can hope that this is the start of something even greater than what this best of 3 ended up being.
Well, I'll tell you what, they might just be able to catch Weibo if you think about it. They're playing them tomorrow.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
We did look at the schedule, and there was some daunting opponents on there. But hey, Weibo is one of them. So if anything, you can come real darn close if you deliver a performance like Game 1 and 3 was tonight up against Weibo tomorrow.
I love this. I love that we get to start coping for our Team WE now, right? We never
love
were
it,
able to do this.
Of course, man.
Hey,
of course.
They just got to win the rest of their series, and they might be 6th place instead of 7th. And who knows? Maybe that means they get a better matchup. They get to play JDG instead of BLG. Hey, they took a game off of JDG, and then they can win that playoff series, go to the finals. They could win Worlds at this point, right?
And they can win Worlds, and there you go. And that's just like that. Just like that. I love it.
Take a look at the damage charts here. About definitely leading the charge. But it really was the top side of the map that dictated a lot of the tempo of the early game, which IG struggled with in terms of handling on the opposite side.
Yeah, and just like Game 2, a lot of it came off of an early game kind of clever, cheeky, cheesy angle. You saw the level 1 of them somehow finding this kind of pincer maneuver onto Nya, and unfortunately Nya, in the rookie of himself, he kind of flashed a Pantheon W that wasn't even skilled up yet. I like that play from Monki there to kind of just gut test him there, to reaction test him to see, is he going to try flashing away? And he doesn't even slow down his clear by leveling up W. He's able to still learn the Pantheon Q to make sure, I mean, maybe, I don't know. But problem is, Nya flashes for no net loss of WE, a complete net gain from that level 1, fully enabling them to get Karis and his pocket pick in the position he needs to be in this Annie versus Akali matchup, carrying the rest of the game off of fights like this.
Yeah, Karis on the Akali, as you mentioned. One of the champions he really found success with last split. Only ended up being 6-6 because of the struggles that WE faced during split number 3. But whenever he locked this one in, he is certain to be a threat. And we absolutely saw that here. This fight was all about though. Look at him go forward with no fear onto Nya and Mako, taking them down for a triple kill. This is what we were unable to see in the backside of things. And conversely, the AD carry on IG side and Jachi unable to find the same play.
Yeah, and I saw it, you saw it. There was a very, very close call there where Jachi is maybe able to reach them and get that triple kill, but he just doesn't have enough damage, enough move speed, enough spells. He isn't able to get there. And then the rest of the fights just kind of look like this. We see some mistakes from Karis and Jachi able to capitalize off the back of them. But in those fights with this team comp, I mean, sure, the catch and out cube here, the Baron power play wasn't so pretty, but all they needed was just to be grouped up in those fights. You know, sometimes when it was the opposite of Game 1 where they wanted to be spread out. This game, they wanted to be stacked up for beautiful fights like this, and you called it well. This Pathfinder from Cube after the Q3 as well disrupts the whole front line, completely sets the fight in their favor, and that was all they needed. The rest of it was just this 5v3, just complete march down the front line of the base.
A great series from Cube, who definitely needed it, right? He's been a point of struggle for this WE roster. He's the most experienced player, or at least one of them, on this WE team. But really, it's been top gaps a lot of the time that they've taken to the Rift here in Group Ascend. But this time, he's able to play these 2 games that they've won very, very nicely, specifically here on the Cassante in Game 3. There's a lot of players you could hand the player of the game over to. I would go either Cube or About.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I think probably just should be About because of the damage he was dealing, because of those triple kills he did find. And although Cube did look very well, he did have that 1 death in the top lane. That is what it was. But bottom line, really good overall from WE. You can even think about Karis and Monki and that mid-jungle pressure they're playing. Even Arha was doing a really good job for himself in the support as well. But, you know, that's going to be it for W. We're going to get to see them tomorrow as well. Let's see if the miracle run can be done. But unfortunately, that's going to have to be it from me in terms of my LPL cast and for the meanwhile, because I'm off over to Korea and over to China myself. Just maybe we might be able to get ourselves in a room with an LPL player and get some of those coffee members an interview. But don't get your hopes up or anything like that. But yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better send-off than the WE's first win.
Hey, you called about a week ago, by the way, in our DMs. We were going back and forth about this series. You're like, I think WE take this one. But yeah, Foles, enjoy the boot camp. Best of luck to you out there in Korea and China. And it's been a blast being with you here on the LPL stream. Final score here for our first series, Team WE2. Invictus Gaming 1 as IG get their first series win of split number 2. We're going to take a short break, unveil the interview, the player of the match, and the game after for this series. But when we come back, we'll have Yanni and Bloxer in to take over for our second series of the day, with Top Esports taking on JDG.